Hello and a very warm welcome to yet another episode of the We Talk Talent series. We Talk Talent series is a special initiative curated by the Economic Times ETHRWorld, and I'm very glad to welcome today's guest with us, Mr. Binoy Sarcar, Manager HR and Head Talent Acquisition for Dr. Reddys Foundation. Welcome, Binoy.
Thank you, Priya. Thank you for inviting me for this session.
So a little introduction about Binoy. Binoy comes with 15 plus years of experience, and in his current role at Dr. Reddys Foundation, Binoy heads talent acquisition and talent management. Binoy has worked with big brands such as Tata Communication, GTL Limited. Binoy also helps non-profit organizations in onboarding talented and purpose-driven employees for their organization. Binoy is a dog lover, a solo traveler, and keeps traveling across the country. So with that, I would straight jump into my first question and ask you, how is your industry tackling the sudden changes that workplace has gone through over the past couple of years? If you could share a brief overview with us.
See, as Dr. Reddys Foundation is a not-for-profit, it's a social enterprise. So in the past, the funding from the private as well as government entities was going very good pre-COVID. Now from COVID times till date, if you look at the overall funding, it has reduced a lot. Now, so due to this, what our organization and many other not-for-profit organizations are doing is trying to create a self-sustainable model. So what is the self-sustainable model? Basically, see, we don't want any profit. But self-sustaining is basically whatever you do, at least the cost is recovered from somewhere, right? Because you don't want to have any profit out of it. So now most of the programs have been restructured in such a way that each program can sustain itself without any external funding. Although I said the funding has become less, but it's not become zero. But then with that self-sustainable model, what happens is, because we are a social enterprise, we work basically with economically backward sections of the society. Whatever you do, however you try, many people will not be able to give that minimum amount of support also to an NGO. Right? So little funding, that is 40% funding and 60% of self-sustainable model is working. As on date, most of the social enterprises are doing it. Although ours is one of the comes in top 10 NGOs. If you ask us, we are not facing any issues with funding, but then this is what is the future we are looking at, and we are strategizing in that direction, because down the line we may end up with very scarce fund, right? Because the government strategy overall, if you look at the current government policies also, they have reduced funding in the education sector, they have reduced funding in the health sector. Although the normal general people, they don't know that the government has been doing this. But if you go in depth and do your study, you will be able to see that government has reduced funding in many of the social initiatives which they were doing in the past. Right. So now it is a clear indication that the people will have to come together and then work around a solution if they are really interested in the social work. Right. So basically, self-sustainable model is the future, and that is how we are planning to tackle the future challenges and the current challenges which have just started to begin.
Yeah, thank you, Binoy, for sharing all those points. I think you have shared some really insightful points that our audiences got to know. With that, as you also mentioned, how the things have changed over the past few years, and it has also affected your hiring and sourcing strategies, and also have impacted the employer branding strategies that companies nowadays focusing a lot. So with that, I would like to ask you if you can shed some light on your employer branding strategy and how it has evolved over the past few years.
So if you look at Dr. Reddys Foundation, again, all this perspective is from social enterprise point of view. See, so what we believe is social work starts from within your organization. So in the past, most of our employee branding was towards showing that we care for our people, right? So when you join Dr. Reddy's Foundation, you can be rest assured that you are at a secure place. But then in the previously, branding was more of like it's a government kind of organization. You know, when people they join and then you can just get retired from that organization in a relaxed way, get your salary. Many people they like that kind of work culture, right? But now our branding has completely changed because, as I said, the overall funding from the private as well as from the government entities have reduced. So obviously our manpower budgets are also reducing with time. Now it's more of multitasking. So the previous branding, like have a relaxed kind of work culture and retire with us, is not working anymore. So now our branding is more targeted towards a dynamic, in showcasing that we have a dynamic work culture wherein although we are focusing more on multitasking, but then you have a lot of flexibility. Okay, we are more goal oriented than work driven. And how we have done it is, if you go and look at our videos which we create, our career page which we have, and we have also taken certifications of the best place to work. In all of that, we are trying to showcase that we have a very flexible work culture. Basically, the work culture is more of integration of work and personal life balance. That is how we are showcasing it. That is how we are following also. It's not all about showcase, we are actually doing it. Basically, it's like we have no time restrictions now. First of all, you can log in, log out anytime. You can work at night, 2 o'clock also. You're goal oriented. Do your work at 3 a.m., we are okay with it. You go, you leave your kid to the school, you come back, you do your work, you again go out, you have a bank work, you again come in, we are least bothered. During office hours also, you go, you watch, you listen to music, we have no issues. At the end of the month, the work needs to be complete. And how we have done it is, we have done away with KPI, KRAs also. Now we have IOPs, that is known as IOP, Individual Operating Process. Because KPI, KRAs, you have a fixed work which you have to do and it would be measured with your KPI and KRAs. So as I said, we are focusing more on flexibility. So IOPs are every 3 months, you have something to do every 3 months, right? And every month you review it also and you can change it also. So it's more of flexible and dynamic in nature, right? So what happens is we are giving, so now all our branding initiatives are to showcase that we are a very flexible organization. Yes, obviously, the second thing which has happened in the social sector is job stability. Most of the social enterprises, especially in India, still work with government funds. And if you look during COVID and post-COVID also, on the government projects and the NGOs who were solely dependent on government projects have actually at the verge of closure. Many have closed also, and they are not able to sustain themselves. So yes, stability is also one thing which we are trying to show it in our brand, because we have completed 25 years. And in 25 years of history of DRF, not even a single year without appraisals or a single year with any salary deductions, be it COVID, be there any other pandemic. So we have been going stable. So stability and flexibility, we are trying to focus this in all our branding initiatives.
Yeah, very rightly mentioned, Binoy. Flexibility is the need of our and is also the future of work. So with that, I would like to ask you my next question. Since you mentioned how the Dr. Reddys Foundation is providing the flexibility and the opportunity for employees to be more flexible towards their personal and professional lives. So in that case, I think lot of role is played by the soft skills as well. So with
Right.
that, I would like to ask you, how do you see soft skills evolving in the future, or if I can say demands of soft skill evolving in the future?
So if you look at hard skills, this would go absolute when a technology changes, right? Suddenly, I may be for example, I may be very expert in SAP. I may be an SAP expert, and one fine day, now you have Workday, right? So hard skills, I knew SAP. Now SAP is no more there. So it means it's still there. I'm just giving an example. So your skills are like, again, it's zero, you start again, right? But soft skills like critical thinking, learning agility, this will always allow you to grow, like problem solving. Because if you're a problem solver, now your organization is shifting from SAP to Workday. So if you're a problem solver, you know how to solve the transition phase, which will come from SAP to Workday. If you're a problem solver, you know how to take it from there to this software. If you're a critical thinker, you know at times when you have problems, you will think on it critically and then take decisions. And you know, decision is one of the most important thing in your personal life as well as your professional life. What kind of decisions you take in your personal as well as professional life, it actually, your complete future depends on it, right? The more correct decisions you take, more you grow in your personal as well as professional life. So critical thinking, problem solving, then emotional intelligence. So soft skill is the one, if you look at most of the organization, especially in DRF also, if you look at our interview, we have preset questions, and it is mostly focused on problem solving, learning agility. These are the two things we always look at, because if a person can solve a problem and he or she is has that learning agility, if you do not have that skills, you have the learning agility to learn that, you will learn it, and again you will grow and prove yourself. So soft skill is the one which will actually sculpt your career in the future. Hard skills, it is important, but then if you have good soft skills, you will cope up with the challenges which hard skills, if you don't have, whatever new technologies will come up, you'll cope up with that and grow. So soft skills is the one you should be looking at. I think now most of the organizations are going towards, especially the organizations which are like standard organizations, proprietor-based organizations are still to come up with some these kind of interviews or assessments to assess people on these soft skills, because hard skills are easy to assess, but soft skills are difficult to assess. So we have taken some softwares also to look into these kind of skills, analyzed during the interviews, right? So soft skill is one of the most important thing which will require in the future.
Yeah, I totally agree with you. Hard skills may expire, but you need soft skills to excel in future. Totally. So with that, I would like to ask you my last question. So what is your take on the new generation entering the workforce? And how do you see their expectation from the workplace differ from the previous generations?
See, Gen Z, if you look at them, they want to be fairly paid for whatever they do. They are like very clear on their thoughts, right? So for them, it's like, okay, you cannot ask them to stretch in the sense I'm talking from timings point of view. Ours is a flexible environment, it works. But then if you go to some other organization, when they've hired Gen Z, they are very clear about it. I come at this time, I go at this time. During my work, you ask me whatever you want me to do, I'll do it. But then after that, it's my life. I may not take calls also, sorry. So they want themselves to be fairly paid, and they are very clear with their thoughts, and they get bored very easily, right? So how we have worked it out is, See, basically, within 1.5 years or maximum 2 years, they get bored if they're not learning something new. If they're doing the same autonomous kind of work, they will leave. You pay them whatever you want, but then they'll tend to leave. Okay, they want a very good work culture, a flexible work culture, very open work culture wherein they can approach anyone, any point of time. They can say whatever they want. Their ideas are heard and they are fairly paid. So what happens is we, through deputations, that is because it is like on-job training. If you're interested in any other department, any other field, you can apply for it. We'll depute you for some time. Say, for example, 6 months, you prove yourself, you be there. We'll take someone else in your place. This is one of the initiatives we are doing through deputation. Secondly, we have come up with professional development policy, wherein I, being an HR person, may like to get into finance because the grass always looks greener on the other side. And if you look at Gen Z, they'll always think in a very different way. Okay, so they may feel, okay, this is very good. So we actually sponsor them into getting into any different profession other than what they're doing, right? So the only this is, we tell them that you'll have to pay it upfront because then we want to create that seriousness also in them. Once they clear it, we reimburse it to them. But then this is one of the ways how we have motivated them to get into other departments or other roles and take some additional responsibilities through deputations also. So it's working for us. Obviously, as I said, see, fair, this is a very vast this to talk about because it depends from organization to organization, and social sectors are not very good payers, honestly speaking. So we are working on the overall salary structures also, like trying to hire them on as management trainees, which is like one of the most flexible role, at least in our organization. So you join as a management trainee in one of the departments, then after 4 months you may move into the other department, after 4 months to other department. You get to learn each and everything in each and every department, and then you closely work with one of the leaders in the organization for 2 years, 3 years, so that you get to learn how they work, plus you have your own flexibility, you have a mentor also. And then you grow up to that role, at least one role just below the leader. So these kind of roles also we are working it out, because Gen Z are the ones who will always have new ideas. You need to actually culture it and try to use it in advantage of your organization. So yes, so this is how we are working it out for Gen Z. So, and it's working with us. If you look at DRF's overall this, 20% hiring is from Gen Z, and I'm very proud to say that almost 95% retention is there.
That's great to hear. And I have to say one thing, maybe social sector is not as much as paying higher as the other organization, but the purpose that bring them together is also what new generation is looking for. So right. Thank you so much for all those points that you have shared with us today, and thank you for your time today.
Yeah, thank you very much, Priya, for your time, and again for inviting me for this session.
Thank you, Binoy. Thank you, audiences, for joining us today. We will look forward to the next session. Thank you.